Hello, welcome beautiful vibrant souls to today's pick a card reading. So today's reading is going to be looking at this, like the themes going on for the Mars retrograde coming up. Now Mars is going to be going retrograde in Gemini starting October 30th. And it will be retrograde until, let me see, sorry, I have a board near me that has all the dates on it. But of course I can't read it because my eyes are bad. Until, there we go, January 12th. Thank you for standing by. So yes, until January 12th, 2023. Now I am going to just briefly kind of go over a little bit of what we can all expect for the collective this Mars retrograde. You are welcome to stay for that. If you would like to just skip directly toward your pile to get further details about how this Mars retrograde in Gemini might play out for you, you're welcome to do so. We have groups 1 with the blue apatite, 2 with the plum blossom tourmaline, and 3 with the hemimorphite. So the timestamps for that will be in the description box below. Excuse me, sorry guys. Oh, my allergies. Oh, allergies Louise. Okay, so for all of you who are sticking around, want to know more about this, retrogrades in general are a time where we are directed to go inward in some area of our lives. Things slow down, things, might kind of halt and pause for a bit. Things from the past might come back. And the entire point of retrogrades is to try to, gain a new perspective and to try to, again, pause long enough to kind of maybe reevaluate, reassess. So Mars is the planet that really has to do with taking action, right? This is also our sense of power in some situations. It's competition. It is, how we handle conflict. Pardon me if you can hear my knuckles crack. Mars kind of deals with all of these things, right? Mars is the planet of war, so it's all about asserting our power and our dominance, as well as being very, like I said, externalized and action-oriented, right? Can't talk, apparently. We sure this is a Mercury retrograde? My God. Excuse me, sorry guys. So when Mars is retrograde in general, like I said, all retrogrades really talk about kind of slowing down, pausing, going inward. Because this is a planet that usually has to do with taking action, a lot of us feel that even harder. A lot of us are going to be feeling that energy even more so. And the thing is, because Mars can kind of talk about power struggles or dominance, this might be a little bit more noticeable than other retrogrades in the sense that we might be trying to push forward and really just being met with resistance at every turn. And the whole point is because we're supposed to be pausing. Similarly, but I guess by contrast at the same time, we might find that, we know we need to take action towards certain things, or we feel prompted, like we feel like we should be taking action toward things, but we don't have, the clarity, we don't have the confidence, we don't have the motivation, and that is due to this energy. Excuse my burp. So, especially with it being in Gemini, what this retrograde is really going to be talking about for many of us is that there are areas of our lives, and it really helps to look at where your Mars placement is, as well as where Gemini shows up in your chart. That might give you a big hint as to where you might experience this the most. So sorry, guys. This is really going to be a time where we are prompted, forced, some might say, to pause and reevaluate on things we've been trying to take action over, right? Anything where you've had that Mars energy, where you have, been struggling, you've been competing, you've been trying to kind of come out on top. There might be a power struggle or, struggle for dominance between you and another person potentially, or between, you and your, you and your, like a situation at work with your employer or coworkers, or there's like competitive, there's competition in your career. It's going to be different for all of you. And again, we'll get into it as we get into your groups. But this is a time where you're going to be required to not move forward on things quite as much. Now, for many of you as well, this also can talk about an idea that you've been wanting to you've been wanting to, you know, get moving on, you've been wanting to take steps about, or like steps toward. And I feel like this is going to be a time where your ideas are really like slowing down. Like the progress on your ideas might slow to a trickle. And this is in order for you to gain a fresh perspective, because there's a better way to do something, or there's like, there's a new perspective you need to have on it. You might find that you're totally like changing tracks, right? You had an idea, let's say this is career for you. You had an idea that like, okay, I really want to do this, then I'm going to go for this position, so that's way I can get to this thing, and you have kind of a plan, right? You have something you want to do, and you might be kind of forced to slow down or take a break because there's a shift that your guides are trying to show you. There's something where it's like you're being redirected, because Gemini energy is all about mental agility, right? Being able to see multiple sides of things, being able to see different perspectives. So there's a shift in perspective that your guides are trying to offer you through this retrograde. Now, where this happens will be different for each and every one of you. But this is really what this retrograde is going to be here for. This is also a time where, even though it's not like Mercury retrograde, because Mercury rules Gemini, this is also a time where there might be a significant shift in communication. And with that Mars energy, this could be with a divine masculine energy, right? Because Mars is the masculine, Venus is the feminine. But just in general, this is where there's been power struggles, or there's been conflict in communication, right? And this is likely where there is a healing coming into those relationships, or to that relationship. This will be a time where one or both of you might be gaining a fresh perspective. It's not, you're not talking past each other anymore. You're collaborating, not competing. And that will show up very largely in your communication. So this is kind of just a basic overview of what Mars retrograde in Gemini is going to bring for many of us. But with that, like I said, we have 3 groups to choose from. Group 1 with the blue apatite. Group 2 with the plum blossom tourmaline. They're just so pretty. I want to show you guys again. And group 3 with the hemimorphite. So feel free to take your time, pause the video if need be, meditate, contemplate on the stacks in front of you. When you have selected one that best resonates with your energy, most draws your attention, or compels you to head down to that option, go to the timestamps in the description box, and that will take you to your selected group. And with that, I'm going to start with group 1. Hi, group 1. Okay. I immediately was like, the second I just picked up this blue apatite, my shoulders like shrank down. I feel like I want to take a nap. So for you guys, I feel like there's some really calming communication happening. There's something where you're going to get the opportunity to like speak your truth and know that it will be met with, how do I say this? It won't be met with competition, right? It won't be met with a tense or fighting, like it won't be met with an energy that somebody's like tense to fight. They're actually hearing you, especially if you've been having a lot of power struggles with this person off and on. You guys will be likely communicating in a way that will actually help to resolve the problem. It's like reducing the inflammation, reducing the barriers to understanding one another. So I really like that. I feel like this will be like because I'm like, you guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm like almost wanting to lay down now on the desk. This will be a very calming thing for you, because I feel like you've been carrying the weight of this power struggle in this interpersonal situation for a very long time. So I want to see what you have for your oracle cards. You have, planetary return. A planetary return occurs when a transiting planet crosses the spot it was in when you were born. Each month, we have our lunar return cycle, where the moon connects with the position it was in the moment we were born. Each year, we have our solar return, our birthday. Saturn returns to the point of our birth every 28 to 30 years, and this is often a major coming-of-age moment. Amen. I'm like just wrapping up my Saturn return. Associated with committing to a career path or long-term relationship. The time each planet takes to travel the wheel of the zodiac determines the significance of each return. The longer the return, the more powerful it is in our lives. Okay. Excuse me, I'm sorry. There's cat fur. Ah, sorry, my cat. I lint rolled it too. My cat just likes to sit up here. So you guys are the only group that got 2 of the Soul's Journey lesson cards. Did I say that right? Yeah, I did. I always say it the wrong order. Jeez Louise. Relationships. I am attracted to those people who serve my higher good. Okay, well, I know where this is going. Wow, honesty. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. That's powerful. Death. Okay, card 30, so that reduces to a 3. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Oh my God, okay. Well, geez Louise, you guys, I didn't pick these. I don't know, this is, all right. Well, I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about love right now, but guess what we're going to talk about? And this doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, but this is a close interpersonal connection, which I feel like makes sense now for the energy I was picking up on. So for some of you, this is absolutely about a long-term relationship, just because we had that mentioned here, and then we have relationships. But in general, this person is a significant figure in your life. With this death energy, you could be dealing with a Scorpio. You could also be dealing with a Cancer, a Leo, or a Capricorn, just since those are the ruling planets for those signs are in, excuse me, or in Aquarius, are mentioned in this card. So balance is being restored to a significant relationship in your life, right? I feel like you have had some time where there's been a big shift, a big ending with the death card, right? And with the house on fire, this is somebody who, or like a situation who either like felt like home, they may have been family to you, but this is somebody who I feel like either felt foundational to you and then kind of like broke down that foundation, or somebody who really challenged your emotional foundations, especially with that Cancer Capricorn energy kind of in the mix here. All oppositional signs on the wheel of the zodiac have some kind of common, like they're if there's a problem, they're like trying to solve the same problem, right? And they start with completely different approaches, and the goal is to work together to meet in the middle, right? Have a balance of both. And so for Cancer and Capricorn, this is really, archetypal mother, archetypal father. So this is about how to nurture and teach and help someone grow. And they both have different approaches that need to be held in balance with one another. And so because of that, whenever those energies come up, this to me can talk a lot about our emotional foundations, and our subconscious programming, and how that impacts certain areas of our lives. And it's interesting, we're talking about long-term relationships or career, because, Cancer rules the 4th house, and this is, our home, our family, our emotional foundations. So that kind of long-term relationship, the people who would be foundational to us. And Capricorn rules the 10th house. So this is, our career, our status, our legacy. So for a lot of you guys, I would look at also as well, excuse me, in addition to where Gemini is in your chart, I would recommend looking into where the Cancer Capricorn axis falls in your chart to get a little bit more insight, as well as your MC-IC line. So the cusp line of your 10th house, your midheaven, into your 10th house, and your IC line, your coli, into your 4th house. That might kind of help you out a little bit. But in general, this is really going to be centered around somebody or something that was foundational to you. Like I said, either they were with you for a long time, like they have been part of your life for a long time. It's like they help you build your foundations, and then whatever's gone on between you has broken them down. Or this is somebody who came into your life and maybe you had really you were trying to build a foundation with them, or there were power struggles that touched on your emotional wounds from childhood, right? And the whole point was to break down false foundations. But as you can see, he's like, this little dude is on his knees holding himself, like he's clearly in pain, right? Excuse me. And it's interesting, we were talking about 28 to 30 years, and we have a 30 here. I'm just noticing that. So some of you might be 30. Some of you, this could be something that started even when you were 28, and or anywhere between 28, 29, 30, and like now it's finally coming around to be resolved. But this Mars retrograde in Gemini is going to be a time where you're finally like bringing healing to this situation. You're going to be especially communicating effectively with this person. Because I think part of what has gone on here for many of you is that with, I'm attracted to those who serve my higher good, or to those people, excuse me, who serve my higher good. I feel like you've been going through this process in general with relationships, but there's one in particular that I feel like is coming through here, where you've been kind of like seeing, I'm just noticing with the pattern here, you've been seeing how everything interconnects. I feel like you've been seeing your own patterns much more clearly. But you've been kind of doing this evaluation process. We have a lot of purple here as well. So I feel like looking at the relationships in your life, looking at how you show up, how other people show up, what you give, what you allow yourself to receive. Excuse me, I'm sorry, guys. And you've been making changes based on that. And the thing that I think has been difficult with this situation is that I feel like this person is very, very important to you. No matter how long they've been in your life, they're very, very important to you. You likely have a soul bond with this person. So there's been this struggle, this power struggle. And this is because something isn't working or something hasn't been working. But what I'm hearing is you both don't want to let each other go yet, because you both equally, you feel the same way in terms of like how important you are to each other. I hope that makes sense. But the problem is, I feel like with honesty here, I feel like there's been this difficulty with being vulnerable almost, right? Being able to speak your truth. And this might manifest differently for the both of you. Oh my God, sorry guys. But it's kind of like what I was talking about before, where it was like talking past each other. There just has been this blockage in communication and this power struggle. And some of why this has existed is in order to give you an opportunity to see in real time what is working for you in relationships and what is not. I feel like you've been trying to work out a lot of relationship patterns with this person. I'm also getting to, this might be kind of a situation where, because they're showing me the Gemini glyph right now. So A, this person could be a Gemini that you're dealing with. But B, this feels like something where it's been hard to reach some type of, excuse me, compromise, conclusion, healthy middle ground, because both you and this person might be very like mercurial sometimes, in the sense that it might be where you both struggle to make a definitive decision and stick with it. Or it could be where you guys change your mind a lot. I'm also kind of getting this energy where it's like, all right, so I'm getting two things. One is that this energy of like, one of you will come in and make a decision and try to communicate that in the relationship and posit it to the other person. And then the other person, might not like respond as quickly or like fully be on board, and that makes the first person feel like scared of like, well, if you're not in, I'm not in. So then they change their energy, and then this change in energy changes this person's energy, and it kind of like ping pongs back and forth. And for some of you, the reason why this has been difficult is that it's like a learning lab. You've been working with this person, and again, it's like having conflicts, power struggles. And I feel like the reason why excuse me, is because one of you, and I feel like for many of you, this is you, my lovely viewer, one of you guys are approaching communication differently. So one of you might be approaching it collaboratively and the other one's competitively. One of you might like a lot more structure, or might like to, it's like one of you might like more structure, one of you might like a lot more fluidity and freedom. It's like you have a fundamental difference in how you approach relationships, and this has been the struggling point. So it's kind of like, it's this energy of like again, you're talking past each other. What you're trying to accomplish in this situation, this relationship is different than what this person's trying to accomplish. And I feel like, at least for you guys, like it's been very challenging, very painful, and it's like you guys can't seem to resolve the situation, and I feel like that's caused you a lot of pain. But it has also caused you to get in touch with your truth when it comes to the relationships you hold and what you expect out of love. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. And with this like honesty card, this has very much been where, you know, you have had to get very honest with yourself. And I feel like you've had to own your truth for yourself, not like, you know, because it says, I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. Meaning, it's like you had to get in touch with your truth in relationships, and it's like, okay, I know I need this. I know I'm gonna communicate this, and I'm not gonna do it for a particular response, but I need to know I said what I needed to say. Or, you know, okay, I can recognize I need this out of relationships, and this person is just not participating, so I need to pull my energy back. I need to cut this person off, whatever it was for you or whatever it is. Excuse me, I'm so sorry, you guys. And that's really been the work you've been doing, because with death here as well, there's been an ending in this situation, and it's been painful, and it served a purpose to help get you in touch with what it is you actually really want and what it is you really need out of connections in your life, really getting in touch with the truth of the situation. But with this Gemini, you know, or excuse me, Mars retrograde in Gemini, I do, like I said, I do feel like there is healing coming in this connection, and I do feel like there will be a conversation for pretty much all of you. Like I'm getting like strong conversation, and it might not be that you guys are like back to where it used to be, or, you know, that things are mending necessarily, but there is clarity, there is communication, there is an apology. There is honesty where there may have been kind of a little bit of, it's like holding back on what your real needs are, holding back on advocating for yourself. So there is, you know, there's a lack of authentic communication. So let's pull some tarot and get some more details. I flipped that. Okay. Yeah, the World at the bottom. You guys are wrapping up a really important big cycle. So it is about this connection, but I feel like it's about a lot of things. This could be a cycle you've literally been working on for, you know, 28 years or something like that with the Saturn return energy. But we have, yeah, the Five of Swords, exactly what I was talking about. The Queen of Swords reversed, wow. And the King of Pentacles reversed. Okay, so we have a couple here. And they are both reversed. Excuse me. Let's see. Can you guys see that? I'm really good at putting the cards out of the frame. Oh, it's not bad. All right. We're doing it today. Yay. Okay, so Five of Swords. This is about people who, when they're communicating, when they get emotionally triggered, they lash out, right? And they say things that maybe they don't mean. They say really hurtful things. These are people who are like, they're cutting with their words. And it's like they're just trying to win. They're not, so again, it's like that thing we were talking about earlier where I feel like there's one person wants to solve things collaboratively and one gets competitive about it. Or maybe you guys are both collaborating until one or both of you gets really emotionally triggered, and then it turns into this like competitive, what I'm hearing is this competitive shit fit. So take it as it resonates, darling. I want to mention too, we have air energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, and we have earth energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn here. And this could go back and forth. I feel like there's been some miscommunications for a lot of you. Like, you might feel like this is, you know, your person is the one who is kind of like taking jabs at you, or like, you know, kind of taking cheap shots, hitting below the belt in an argument. But your person may also feel like you've done something to them. And I know, excuse me, that is, you might be sitting there being like, what? What are they smoking? But this is what I mean is that there's a fundamental miscommunication here. But I can see with the Five of Swords, there's been a lot of like challenging communication. There's been a lot of harsh words exchanged. There also could be, you know, there's been harsh communication in general, whether it's harsh words exchange or somebody's like, I always call it like weaponizing silence, right? So they're giving you the silent treatment, or they're giving you very sparse, confusing communication on purpose. There's just been this kind of like inflammatory back and forth between the two of you. But the thing I'm seeing with these two court cards reversed is that I feel like both of you have had moments where you've gotten triggered and destabilized emotionally. Or excuse me, destabilized. Well, yes, but dysregulated was what I meant. Dysregulated. Excuse my burp. Both of you have had moments in this connection where you have not been in your power entirely, right? You know, Queen of Swords reversed is somebody who does not communicate clearly, can even be a little bit manipulative, but she's not direct. She doesn't say, you know, like what's on her mind, what's in her heart. This is somebody who might be passive aggressive, or who hints at what they, you know, what they mean, what they feel, but they're not saying it out loud. And this would be like the kind of person where you might hurt their feelings and not know it, but they'll start taking little digs at you in conversation. You're like, whoa, where the hell is this coming from? It's because they're not communicating authentically. And the King of Pentacles reversed, you know, is somebody who I feel like I'm almost hearing in this situation, like makes a lot of false promises. So this would be somebody who, excuse me, I'm sorry. This would be somebody who is not super stable, is inconsistent. Oh, you guys, I'm sorry, I'm dying. Not super stable, inconsistent, somebody who doesn't show up when they say they're going to, or in the way they say they're going to, and creates a lot of instability. And this is kind of what I feel like is going on here, right? It's kind of like maybe this person made a lot of promises to this person, and then when they didn't, you know, when they would not show up, this person felt like they were being dishonest, right? And this person could have kind of in their mind been like, well, fine, you know, I see how it is. Like, you know, you say you're doing one thing and then you just don't do it. And instead of talking directly to this person, I feel like this person might be prone to lash out, or prone to communicate in such a way that is difficult for this person, or like makes them nervous, right? So this would be somebody who, you know, like let's say, for example, that this person knows that this person can get jealous easily. This person might be like, oh, I was talking to my ex the other day, and they'll say it like just like casually in conversation, knowing that it will make this person feel nervous and insecure, right? And I feel like also too, this person has been very stubborn in certain times. This person may also in response withdraw further effort and be like, well, okay, you know, if I'm not sure about you, I'm not gonna invest further in this relationship. I'm gonna hold back, right? There's a big series of misunderstandings, I feel, between these two people. But there's been this like painful, bitter ending. And I feel like this also could just be a series of, you know, a series of misunderstandings over time that's really just served to kind of cut this relationship. And I think what's at the core of this is that both of these people are struggling to be vulnerable with each other and struggling to be honest. And this is what I feel that this Mars retrograde is going to be bringing in, is a lot of honest communication that's going to help shift your perspective, not only on this situation and this relationship, but on relationships in general. So I want to get more details because, you know, spiritually nosy and regular nosy too. Do I flip it? No. Okay. Yeah, the Ten of Pentacles, right? This is like deep foundation. So this could be also, like I said, you know, a family member where you guys just don't see eye to eye. You know, we have two different suits here. So this is like people who have, you know, focuses in different things. Or this is maybe somebody that you see a long-term future with. Yeah, the Emperor is right beneath it. So we have Aries energy poking its little head through. And this is with the, you know, this is the masculine. This is Mars. Excuse me. So I do feel like this is somebody who I feel like your goals are actually not really that different. Like you guys are more similar than you realize. It's almost like you guys like have the same, you know, they're showing me like if you have 4 different priorities, it's like you guys have the same like first and last, but you've just swapped 2 and 3. So you're really not that different, if that makes sense, I hope. Like, if you had to, like, write down, I don't know, like, you guys are more similar, and you have more similar desires from not only life, but from relationships especially, than you might realize. But there's just been so much inflammation that has, like, constricted the ability to see each other clearly, to meet in the middle, and to be able to compromise. I feel like both of you have been looking at the situation and having a hard time seeing how you would possibly compromise with each other, possibly reach a balance, reach in the middle. And it's because you're projecting something outward, or you have been, where it's been like, it's been like, well, I would be happy, I would love to have this relationship with them, but they do this, or, you know, I don't see how we'll make it work when this is how they live their life, or this is what they believe. So it's kind of like you guys have both been waiting for the other one maybe to capitulate or to change. But there's like something in your shadow that both of you are missing. I'm not saying you're wrong about your complaints about each other, whatever that might be, but there's something in your own shadow that is, I feel like, adding like putting salt in the wound essentially, and making it more of like a bitter thing for you, right? Because even if you guys have this honest talk and you kind of decide that, you know, the relationship between the two of you needs to change, or a dynamic needs to end, there will be resolution and peace, like peaceful parting of ways for those of you where that's what this will bring in, right? Instead of holding on to it with like bitterness and anger, there's going to be release and forgiveness. So we have the 7 of Cups reversed, the 4 of Pentacles. I'm not surprised. Oh, and the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so for a lot of you, I do feel like this is going to resolve itself. Excuse me. And you're going to have this like fresh new perspective, which will allow for a new start together. For some of you, you know, like I said, 4 of Pentacles here. You guys have been holding on to this, and I feel like there's been a lot of confusion around the situation. There's a lot of like conflicting emotions, and it's been hard to see the way clearly. It's been hard to move forward. And again, this has served a purpose in the sense that having to carry a lot of these emotions, having to kind of work through this, whether you guys have been, you know, fighting in, you know, in connection, or you've been separated, you know, whether in contact or not, having all these conflicting emotions has served to really kind of make both of you take a step back and think about what you want in relationships. Think about what's actually really good for you and what's not. What feels healthy and supportive for you and what's not. And I feel as if both of you, you know, it's interesting because in the traditional 4 of Pentacles, the man on the card has a pentacle on top of his head. He's holding on to 1, and he's got 1 under each foot. But in this one, he's holding on to the 3 of Pentacles. And the 3 of Pentacles is a card of spiritual partnership, right? This is like teamwork makes the dream work kind of energy. So you guys, both of you are holding on to this partnership, but both of you are also, it's like you're waiting to have this fresh start until it looks a certain way, or until it's on, you know, your terms, or maybe for them it's until it's on their terms. There's like something here where you both have been kind of waiting, but you haven't let go of this. Even if this is like, I'm so mad at you, like, I don't ever want to talk to you, you're holding on to the energy, whether you mean to or not. And I feel many of you are aware of this, and you're just kind of like, I don't want to. But this is because you've been kind of bound up in each other's energy for a while. And what this Mars retrograde is bringing in for a lot of you is there is clarity coming in. I'm also really drawn into this image here. A lot of you have had some significant tower moments in this connection as a result of this situation. So this situation has brought a lot of clarity, a lot of emotional honesty, at least with yourself, about what you, like I said, what's good for you and what's not. And it's also too about where your blockages might be, as well as being very honest about what the other person's blockages might be. And the reason why this retrograde is going to be really healing is because you guys have both kind of come to some conclusions. And you guys are going to be at this place where you're having a very honest conversation with each other. Excuse me. I also feel like too, some of you have different things that you want in life. And this was kind of like one of the issues is like you guys may have had a lot of options in front of you, again with this Gemini energy, and had a hard time committing to a choice, and that may have whether it's in the relationship or like externally, like where you want to live, you know, if you want to have a family or not. I feel like a lot of you are asking these, with that Saturn energy we saw earlier, asking these super big questions in your life. And I feel like a lot of you were doing this process internally and maybe didn't talk to each other about it, or it's like one of you, you know, maybe said something and it triggered the other, and it wasn't intentional, but it was like let's say, you know, one of you wanted to talk about, like, you were, you know, thinking about the idea of moving away, right? You know, and you just kind of mentioned this, like, oh, I've been thinking about that, and you mention it casually, and this might trigger the other person to feel like abandonment or feel insecure, and then they may have lashed out. There's something like that where it's like you guys are at this pivotal point in your life where you're contemplating some big shifts and changes, or contemplating what you want to build moving forward in a very long-term context. And that's hard to do no matter what, but that's especially hard to do when you're taking into account your, you know, like, so your loved one's feelings, and then especially if they are also in flux, that can be really challenging. So there's like this weaving in and out energy. It's very complex. And I do kind of sense that has created some miscommunication here. But there is going to be this really beautiful, you know, heartfelt apology and offer that's made as a result. I want to pull some more cards about that though. Okay, Page of Pentacles reverse. Ooh, the Three of Swords. All right, definitely an apology. And then the Nine of Pentacles reverse. I kind of want to pull you guys one more. Hang on. No, that's not it. That's it though. There it is, Ten of Pentacles. Okay, Emperor at the bottom, baby. Yeah, and then we have the Hermit beneath that, and the Knight of Swords. Oh, and the Six of Wands beneath that. I missed that. Okay. Excuse me. So what this Ace of Pentacles is really about, with these three cards right here, this is where you and this person, I feel like you had a false start, or you got off on the wrong foot. There might be something, if this is like a family relationship where there's like a parent-child dynamic and one person feels like they're never taken, like the child never feels like, even as an adult, they're not taken seriously by the parent, or they're, I'm hearing, in somebody's shadow. Excuse me. For some of you, if this is like a romantic situation, you or your person may have kind of like experienced a lot of heartbreak at the hands of an ex, and it's like the shadow of that ex kind of looms over your relationship, or it did. But either way, there is something where there's this beginning that was trying to take root. You guys were trying to build something together, and I feel like it never fully got off the ground because, again, you guys were talking past each other to a certain extent. Even if you were trying really hard, or even if you didn't feel like you were, you guys were talking past each other. And this has created a lot of heartbreak because both of you have been feeling really misunderstood. And I feel like that's hard because, again, there's this foundational energy with you guys. You guys either have been a part of each other's lives for a long time, you had plans to, like, you know, you could see this person being in your life for a long time. You guys might also have a really long-standing history of working together as souls, right? So many lifetimes. You guys go way back. You know each other. And this has been tough, and I feel like this has brought up self-esteem wounds for some of you. For some of you, there might be this challenging relationship that you have to being alone. So either, you know, especially with that Hermit energy we saw, either you might be prone to being alone, or like might prefer it because it's hard to connect with other people. You might feel like you're always left alone at the end of everything, like everybody leaves. You might feel like, you're always truly alone even when you're surrounded by people. There's something here about struggling with personal independence, struggling to feel comfortable in your own skin and stand on your own 2 feet. For some of you, just because of all these pentacles, this really could be financial as well. So this could be in your career. This could be with family members where you're trying to get established on your own. But what this is really going to be, you know, the Ace of Pentacles is like a seed that you plant and you water it and you tend to it. And if you care for it, it will eventually turn into the Ten of Pentacles. So where there was this like false start or this rocky beginning before, I feel like this Ace of Pentacles is bringing in this apology. It's bringing in this mending. And this is in order to reestablish solid foundations, right? Because I do feel like you and this person have a long road that you're meant to walk together. And for a lot of you, like I said, you know, this is There's not a lot of romantic cards here, but we do have love. So this is somebody where there is legitimate, genuine soul love. And whether you guys are a romantic couple or not, or that's what happens or not, you're meant to be a part of each other's lives in a meaningful and, I'm hearing, productive way for a really long time. Now, for a smaller number of you, this is going to be a situation where you are having a shift in perspective, and it's allowing you to find peace. It's allowing you to let go of this situation, this, spiritual partnership, and this will allow you to start fresh, right? This might bring in a new offer with somebody else. This might help give you new perspective on what you need out of relationships that will then usher in a new long-term relationship, possibly around springtime with all the pentacles, because that's spring for me. And the relationships it ushers in are going to be sturdy, solid, stable, long-lasting. And this is because you now have a better idea of what you want and what you need. And you've kind of dealt with some things that were in your subconscious or in your blind spot, allowing you to have something more fruitful. Pardon my sniffles. So yeah, this is just about everything I'm seeing for group 1. This was really, really important. If you would like help with your specific situation, please feel free to check out the link to my shop in the description box below. I do also offer custom readings, so if you don't see something that matches your needs, please DM me and I'm happy to make a custom reading for you. But this is all I've got for you guys. I'm wishing you so much luck, so much love, much prosperity over this Mars retrograde. Yeah, I love you guys. I will see you soon. And with that, I'm going to move to group 2. Bye. Hi, group 2. Okay, for this group, I'm kind of getting this like creative energy going on. I feel like there's something where you've been wanting to take action, but there is something that needs a reevaluation. There's part of your approach that needs to be revised. And I feel like because, the plum blossom tourmaline can really talk about like emotional healing and rebalancing your emotions, there might be something where the idea that you originally had in place would have been, I'm hearing, too draining for you, or something like it would have impacted you in a destabilizing way. So there's something where there needs to be a change in, like a tweak in your approach. So for a lot of you, this could be creative, I'm getting, or like this could be in your career, but there's something where you might hit obstacles and barriers on a project. And this is because there needs to be an adjustment. So just be prepared for that. Know that if you are hitting a lot of delays, this isn't because your manifestation isn't going to happen or isn't meant for you, but there needs to be an adjustment so it's a little bit more stable long term. So let's see what you have for your cards. Oh, you have trine. A trine aspect occurs when two planets or points are 120 degrees apart from each other in the birth chart. This major aspect indicates a harmonious, stimulating relationship between the two bodies and brings our creativity, love, and an overall easier time. A trine occurs between celestial bodies that share the same element. For example, if you have your sun sign in Scorpio, a water sign, and your moon sign in Cancer, another water sign, these planets would be considered a water trine to each other. So for some of you, looking at where you might have any trines in your birth chart will kind of tip you off. Especially I'm saying if you have a grand trine, take that into consideration. Excuse me. And a grand trine is when, they mentioned they're in the same element. It's when you have placement in each of the three signs that belong to a particular element. So if they use, in this example, if you would have an important placement in, if you have a placement in Scorpio, one in Cancer, and then one in Pisces, that would be a grand water trine. So then obviously apply it to the other elements. But let's see what else you have. Oh, humor. Okay, I choose to focus on the lighter side of life. This card's been making an appearance a lot lately. Unconditional love, divine mother. This is card 1. Okay. There's that emotional energy. I knew it would come out. And Perseverance, card 4. Okay. And it's interesting too, because in this deck, as you can see, there are cards where the Merkaba is the same color as the background, and there are also ones where it's different. So when it's the same, I take this to mean that your internal frequency is now being matched by your external reality, right? So what you have manifested, you're in alignment, and now you start to see it appear in your reality. And because it's green here, and we have a lot of green here as well, and we have unconditional love, this is very much associated with the heart chakra. And we have this like trine element going on here as well. So I want to know first and foremost, I'm going to pull a tarot card or two for this, what it is that you've been working toward, not this one. I want to look at this one, but not take it. Okay, the sun reverse. So this is something about your own happiness. I feel like with the 2 of Swords at the bottom, you guys are trying to pick a path. Well, let's see. Okay, 5 of Wands. Wow, 6 of Wands. Yep. And the Hangman reverse. Okay, Pisces energy here. Yeah, exactly. So there's something, and this is likely there's something creative, because the Wands energy can kind of talk about this, but this is something that you feel really called to in your soul. And with Perseverance and the 5 of Wands, this is something that you've had to fight for. Or something that this can be a card of power struggles and competition, very much that Mars energy. Even if this is just within yourself, right? You're battling different aspects of yourself. I feel like this group, you're very determined, you're very perseverant, like you have no problem putting in the work, especially when success is on the horizon with the 6 of Wands. You can almost taste it. You can almost it's right there. You're like, okay, I see it. I'm gunning for it. I'm doing it. And sorry, this card, he's tied to the branch, but when the card's reversed, it just looks like he has a very stylish, like natural anklet. I don't know. So what I'm feeling here is what this Mars retrograde in Gemini is going to bring for you guys is whatever it is you've been gunning for, you've been pushing for. There's something where you want success. You want this public recognition for your skills. You want this acclaim, and who wouldn't, right? But there needs to be this shift in perspective, because I feel like there has been this like seriousness, but I feel like it's internally directed. Like, I don't think you would apply this to your competition. I don't feel like you're going to be sitting there kind of looking at other people who are doing what you want to do, or who are, working in the same field, in the same space as you, and like criticizing them. I feel like this group, you're a lot more likely to direct it inward and be like, maybe not beating yourself up, but just like, kind of like you're like whipping yourself as your own workhorse. Does that make sense? Trying to really like, I feel like this would be the group that's like, okay, damn, I did it wrong. Let me go back and figure out what I did. Like, do it better next time. Like, you very much are like a taskmaster for yourself. Because, again, you really want to reach this goal. And so I don't think this is, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Again, being very perseverant toward what it is that you want. That's a great thing. I feel like this group, you might have heavy Saturn energy. Or the Saturn transits this year may have really like shooken you. But the reason, Mars being retrograde in Gemini for you guys, especially with the Hangman reverse, is going to be bringing a shift in perspective. And this shift in perspective is all about how you motivate yourself. And this is also going to be a shift in perspective about what it is you want, right? So we had that 6 of Wands showing up. And I feel like whatever this is, you've been just like tunnel vision, like this is what I'm doing, this is what I want. And I feel like this, sorry, that was my coffee cup, the iced coffee is melting. Got my attention, so I'm taking a sip. You guys have been very much focused on what you want, and again, not a bad thing, but it's like, there might be kind of subconscious needs hung up on your goal, right? So there might be subconscious programs in the background where it's kind of like perfectionism, where it's like, I need to do this, I need to accomplish this, I need to be this good at this thing, because there's some like kind of internal program about needing to prove that you're good enough, needing to prove that you're worthy, right? If I get to this goal, then I will have achieved this. And like, it's not that you don't want whatever your goal is, but I almost feel like, again, there needs to be a tweak in the energy, because we talked about that before with like, there will be emotional burnout if there isn't this adjustment. We have unconditional love with Divine Mother. And what I feel like this is, you guys are most likely very comfortable with your Saturn energy. And I was actually just talking about this in group 1. All oppositional signs on the wheel of the zodiac have some kind of common, like, there's a problem they're both trying to solve. And the Cancer Capricorn axis is all about parenting, because we have Cancer with divine, archetypal mother energy, and Saturn with divine archetypal father energy. So both of them are talking about, nurturing and raising children and like growth and maturation, but they have very different approaches. And obviously the goal with all oppositional signs is to, find balance between the two energies, to equilibrate and meet in the middle and take a balanced blended approach. So for a lot of you, I feel like if you chose this group, you're very comfortable in your Saturn energy, right? This is like, the teacher, teachable moments. This is like I care about you so much that I want to teach you how to do XYZ so you can always do it for yourself. You never have to rely on anyone. That's how Saturn shows love, is like, I want to teach you how to do this. I want to help give you the discipline and the strength to overcome these problems or to solve these problems, so that way you are self-sufficient, right? And you need both, right? So I feel like for this group, you're very comfortable with that. You're very comfortable holding yourself to a standard, very perfectionistic in whatever area this is in your life, right? And I feel like that gets you very, very far, particularly in our society. But there's this internal element where there might be times where you're prone to kind of like being very, very hard on yourself. And I feel like what is missing as you go after this goal is this kind of unconditional love for self, right? Where you're being compassionate with yourself. You're taking breaks when you need to, right? And for a lot of you, what I think this is going to do is you're going to be looking at your goal and being like, okay, do I want this for me? Do I, what will happen if I don't get this? And I feel like you're going to be doing a lot of the work and unpacking, like, unpacking any sort of beliefs running in the background that impact this. So it's kind of like, maybe if you have this belief, this subconscious belief of like, I have to achieve XYZ, or, I'm not going to be worthwhile. I have to get married by the time I'm this age, or like, I have to go to this school, or, I'll disappoint everybody. It's something about not feeling good enough. And this is because there's a little bit of an unconditional love wound here that is seeking to be healed. So it's not that your goal is not for you, and it's not that your actions aren't going to yield success, but there's something where this needs to be healed, because once again, with that energy of emotional burnout, if you're just like persevering, you're in that kind of like, stern, hardcore, serious, energy that Saturn can sometimes bring, when you're always on yourself and you're not like giving yourself compassion, leeway, encouragement when, this feels like the kind of group that when you fail, you might not like beat yourself up about it, but you're not kind to yourself either. You're like, no, go back and do it again, right? So you might not be sitting there like berating yourself, but you're also not kind of, I feel like this group struggles to take breaks. If you have a setback or a failure, I feel like if you're this group doubles down and goes back and does it again and doesn't take the appropriate breaks. There's something where there's a lack of harmony within yourself, particularly like emotional harmony, right? And I'm almost thinking about like mind, body, spirit connection. So some of you might have these energies going on in the 6th house as well. But like good mind, body, spirit connection. And I feel like this group is like, you might struggle with that, particularly when it comes to taking breaks to enjoy the things that you like, right? I choose to focus on the lighter side of life. Or if it comes to a perceived failure or setback, you might be really like hard on yourself and start to kind of like get upset or get anxious and be like, no, I've got to go do it again. I've got to try again right now, instead of giving yourself time to kind of rest, recuperate, reflect and then come back and try again. So there's something here where it's what needs to be shifted is this unconditional love wound. And this is where your perspective is going to be coming into play over Mars retrograde. So you might find that, like I said, your projects are kind of slowed down during this time. I want to look at this card but not take it. Yeah, Two of Wands. This is planning, right? There's something where before, I feel like you've been working towards something, but it's kind of like, hang on, we got to make adjustments before you can move forward. Yeah, because with the Eight of Cups, there's something that needs to be, there's an emotional pattern that needs to be left behind. The Hermit reverse, there's that Virgo energy, perfectionism. The Ace of Swords reverse, yep. And the Tower reverse. Okay, so one of your strengths, if you chose this group, let me make sure you can see that, since I'm great at putting cards out of the frame. One of your strengths, if you chose this group, is that you are not afraid to make changes. You're not afraid to get up, keep going, try again. You're not afraid to do the work. And that is really a strength. The Tower reversed is where we do have these things that are not working. We do have these things that are built up on an unstable foundation that are meant to change. And when it's reversed, this suggests that you will take matters into your own hands and you will, you'll kind of break down what's unstable, unsteady, and try to rebuild, right? And this is something I think that you guys are not unfamiliar with, nor are you afraid of. You're not afraid of criticism to a certain extent. You're not afraid of hard work. You're not afraid to, you're not afraid to tear it all down and start again if that means that you're going to get to your goal, right? And you're not afraid of doing that, right? Again, very Saturn, Capricorn vibes. Like you see the long term, you see the big picture. And you're not afraid to be patient, to put in the hard work, to put in the grind to get there. And that is one of your absolute strengths. But one of the things that I feel like is difficult is that there's this issue. And this has been the thing that I feel like it's been hard for you to shift and change, right? Because look at how this Tower almost looks like it's like trying to scoot out of the way of the lightning, like whoop, nope, can't touch me. And I feel like now is the time where like this group feels like you're like I said, very hardworking. So I feel like this feels like my group where like if you're being like let's say you watch a lot of tarot readings and you've had 5 in a row that have told you like, oh, you need a break, you need to take a rest, and you're like, yeah, I will, and you don't do it. This would be like the group where, you get sick or you get injured and you have to stay home because that's like the only way Spirit can get you to take a damn break. This is kind of like, that's what's going on. And so I feel like for this group, you are going to be prompted to take some time to self-reflect because there's a truth that you're missing. And I feel like you're not afraid to make improvements, make changes. And it's like, you're working so hard that like, this is the thing that's missing that's going to take you to where you want to go. So you are going to be prompted to kind of have some time in hermit mode here to get a clearer perspective because you're already doing all the hard work and your guides want to make it a little bit easier on you and make it go further. So I want to pull some cards of advice for you for what your guides are suggesting might be helpful during this Mars retrograde. Oh, Knight of Cups, beautiful. 5 of Wands. 6 of Pentacles reversed. And the Ace of Wands, gorgeous. We have the Moon at the bottom, by the way. Okay, so this is really saying this conflict, whether, this competition, this conflict, whether with other people or just within yourself, is throwing you out of balance right now, right? This also could be where you're prone to always like overgiving, doing things for other people. Maybe you take on work that like, you take on responsibilities at work that you really don't have the time or energy for, but you want to make it to the top. You want to prove that you're a really solid employee. And there's, again, everything just in balance. That's all it is. But this has now thrown you out of balance, and this is what needs to be addressed. So advice from your guides about how to kind of handle this or what actions you can take to sort of help facilitate this, this transformation or like this shift in perspective, to help facilitate this shift this change, is to make sure you're really spending time doing things that you love doing, right? Participating in activities that make you happy, participating in, for some of you, if this is creative in nature, you're being encouraged to just create without a goal in mind, right? Because I feel like, again, you know, you have something you want with the Nine of Cups, and this might be impacting, like essentially creating a creative block for you. So just doing things with like no intention of, you know, especially with that Six of Wands we saw earlier, no intentions of like, you know, if you make content and you're trying to like always figure out, you know, how am I gonna like, you know, how am I gonna get more followers, more subscribers? How am I gonna, you know, how am I gonna make sure my video is boosted to more people? You're working really hard to the point where whatever it is you're working toward, I feel like the passion is waning a little bit. And this is because it's kind of like putting your creativity or your creative energy in a box to an extent, and it's not being allowed to kind of just like, especially with this like inner child energy, to just like play and explore and have fun with this, you know, lighter side of life card, to just have fun, right? So this is going to be something where for some of you, creating without expectation, creating just for the sake of creating, right, is going to be a hugely healing process and really help like kind of ease up, like help the energy flow better is what I'm trying to say. And for others, this is just going to be a time to make sure you're spending time with, even though this isn't the meaning of this card, I'm almost getting spending time with friends who really have your back, especially if you've been dealing with difficult people. But just to do things that you're passionate about, to do things that you enjoy. And I feel like this will kind of help you get the inspiration you need to move forward. This might help you kind of take back your power, sort of revive and revitalize your energy, but doing what you love and doing with it without expectation, just like allowing yourself this space of unconditional love to just enjoy your life, enjoy these parts of your life without condition and expectation. It's going to really help this energy flow much better for you. So when Mars goes direct, I do feel like you'll kind of come back with a fresh perspective, or you'll be coming back with a clean slate. And this is pretty much the universe just saying, take a divinely inspired break. So I think this is just about everything I'm seeing for group 2. I hope this has been helpful. If you need help with your specific situation, please feel free to check out my shop link in the description box below. I also do custom readings, so if you don't see what something that you would like, for example, if you want a reading like this for yourself personally, please feel free to DM me. I'm happy to do custom readings. But it's been an honor, a joy, and a delight to get to read for you today, love bugs. I'm wishing you a safe, happy, healthy, prosperous Mars retrograde, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye. Hi, group 3. I was actually taking a sip of my coffee. Hang on. Oh, iced coffee, so good. Okay, so I'm hearing regroup. Some of you, I feel like, some of you have kind of been like in hermit mode, or sort of been like taking things one step at a time since Mercury retrograde was in Libra. And that was from like the second week of September to the first week in October. And you've kind of just been taking things slowly. And while things might not be like picking up during Mars retrograde in terms of actionable steps or things you can tangibly see, what I feel like this Mars retrograde in Gemini will then bring to you, it's like you've been recharging your batteries. And what Mars retrograde is going to bring to you is like a fresh perspective or idea, right? So I feel like you guys have been having something where you've been wanting to make something. This feels like career as well. It's like whatever you were working on, or like you just, I feel like, excuse me, prior. You may have been experiencing some burnout. There may have been some big spiritual and emotional cycles that needed to close out for you. And it's like you've been regaining your strength. So during this Mars retrograde in Gemini, you might be getting a lot of like insights, epiphanies, ideas. And this is going to be this like, somewhere in here, there's going to be a nugget of wisdom or your golden ticket idea that you've been waiting for. So that way when Mars goes direct, you're able to take swift action. You're able to put that into action. You're able to implement that. So if things are not really moving forward a whole lot during Mars retrograde, don't worry about it. Excuse me, because this is a time, they're showing me like popcorn. You know, there's a while where the popcorn is heating up and like nothing is happening yet. But then when it starts to pop, it's like really, really quick. It moves fast. So if things aren't really moving, that might be tough because you did just spend this period in recovery, and then you also have retrograde, but I do feel like you're going to be getting ideas, right? And these ideas are, you know, going to help you hit the ground running when it goes direct. So that is just something I was picking up, but let's see what you have for your cards. Post-shadow retrograde, yeah. Excuse me. The post-shadow phase of the retrograde follows the retrograde. This phase takes place after the planet has stationed, when the planet appears to stop before beginning retrograde, and is working its way to the final degree the final degree where the cycle began. In this phase, you are clearing up what became undone or was confusing during the actual retrograde. In general, post-shadow retrograde is when you can recover or reckon with what got shaken up during the cycle. So for you guys, I feel like you're almost you've been in this recovery mode, but I feel like the post-shadow retrograde, like we were saying, so when it goes, Mars is going to be retrograde until January 12th, and there's going to be that post-shadow retrograde period. I feel like this will be like pretty much as soon as Mars goes direct, you guys are going to experience things starting to move and move quickly. Like, be prepared. So let's see what else you have. Okay, you have fear. I realize that I am testing my resolve to live in the energy of love. Imagination with inner child, card 7. And, okay, card 67, physical activity. This reduces to a 13, which reduces to a 4. So whenever I get the physical activity card, you know, this could literally talk about physical activity, but this is movement to me more than anything else. So some of you, I have to say, some of you are going to be moving. Like, this is going to, well, hang on, let me back up. Again, imagination, you've been like preparing energetically to come up with this idea, to take action. There's a new phase that's going to be starting for you. And with all the stars and the butterflies, there's a lot of transformation, a lot of change happening, but there's a lot of like wishes coming true. Like they're showing me a meteor shower. It's like shooting stars almost like raining down on you. There's a lot of stuff happening. And I feel like with this fear card, there's this energy of having to trust spirit that you may have been going through or you might still go through during the retrograde, where it's like having to trust that everything's coming together in its own time. Because there feels like there's this energy of not only, you know, will things not look like they're not happening externally, but this could be where there's almost like a time pressure, like a deadline where you're like, I don't know, let's say if this is wanting to get a business off the ground, it's like, okay, I took out a loan and this loan is going to cover expenses up until like, I don't know, February or March, or like up until like the first 6 months of, you know, 2023. And I really got to hope that I like get it together, that I get the idea, or, you know, if like you're formulating your plan, it's like, okay, I have one shot at this and I got to hope it works. Right? And so what's happening is like the universe is asking you to take a leap of faith, or will be asking you to take a leap of faith. You might be getting some type of offer or inspiration or important communication about this shift during retrograde. And this also might come on the heels of tying up loose ends, or like closing out an old cycle, just because retrogrades can bring things back around. But what I feel like is happening is that there is this shift in perspective for a lot of you that not only brings in new ideas, but there's like bringing in this new energy of fearlessness. It's not even fearlessness, because I do feel like there will be fear, but it's like full-on bravery where you're just like, you know what, the way a child just trusts. This has very much this Fool card energy where it's like, you know what, I'm taking action. I'm trying this. I'm moving forward on this because I'm not going to sit here and wonder what if. I'm not going to be boxed in with a square energy going on here. I'm not going to be boxed in by fear. I'm going to go for it because the worst that's going to happen is it will fall apart. It will fail and I'll try something else. But a lot of you are being like tested to live in this energy of trusting the universe. I want to give your tarot deck a little mini shuffle real quick before I pull tarot. Ow! Y'all, I broke this wrist last November and like, I broke it years and years ago when I was a kid and it was fine. But ever since I broke it last November, it aches when it's raining out where I am. But like it aches when it's raining. I'm like, whew, I wasn't expecting it. Yeah, I cut the deck. We have the World and the Four of Cups. There's a big cycle that's ending. There's this thing, and I feel like Spirit's handing this to you, and it's like this energy of, because normally this person in the Four of Cups is like, they've got their arms crossed, they're looking at the Three Cups, and they just don't really give a shit, right? But in this one, and the Ten of Cups is poking out under that, by the way. What was between those two? Okay, the Magician, yeah, this is everything about you're manifesting your total fulfillment, your total happiness. But I do feel like it will require you to take a leap of faith. And so in this version of the Four of Cups, this person almost looks like they're meditating, right? And they have their eyes closed, meaning this is going to be something that you have to see with your third eye, see intuitively, see spiritually. And this is testing, you know, are you going to stay where you're comfortable? Are you going to sit there observing what would make you happy? Or are you going to go for it? This feels like the universe is kind of like, all right, your move, bitch. I want to know more about this though. I like this energy, yeah. Because I feel like a lot of you have been like learning to trust yourself and trust spirit. Yeah, this is all about Knight of Swords reverse. You may have struggled to take action on this before. I just feel like you're going to be bold. This group like is getting fearless. But, ooh, the Empress reverse. Okay. What I always find interesting is that in this deck, she's got, I just noticed this, she's got pomegranates. And I think she has pomegranates in the original card too, but the one that mostly has pomegranates in the original deck is the High Priestess, very much associated with the underworld, and with that, you know, that the connections of like birth, death, rebirth. It's really interesting. The Eight of Swords reverse, alrighty. The World, there she is. I'm gonna do this just because apparently YouTube is afraid of boobs, so oops. And then the Four of Pentacles. I don't care about boobs, but YouTube apparently is scared. It's okay, YouTube. We all grow up someday. And okay, so yeah, this is exactly what I feel like. First of all, you're calling down a lot. With that Magician we saw earlier, we have first of all Taurus and Libra energy here. And we have the four fixed signs, so Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio. You're in the process of manifesting a lot. You've been doing the inner work, and I feel like it's not completely wrapped up yet, but you are coming to the end of it. And this is part of that healing period, that rest period you've been in, is that you've been really healing a lot when it comes to knowing your worth, knowing what you deserve. Because where was it? It's somewhere in here. I don't know exactly where it was. I saw the Nine of Pentacles reverse poke its head out as I was putting the deck back. So I feel like you've been doing a lot of self-worth work, and this is finally like paying off. So now you're in this period. I feel like you've had a lot of breakthroughs. You're in this period of healing as a result. Some of you might have mother wounds that you've been healing, inner child wounds that you've been working through. And this process is paying off because with the Eight of Swords reversed, you've been really like trying to mentally free yourself. You've been trying to see things differently. And what you've been trying to free yourself from is fear-based energy with the Four of Pentacles and this fear card, right? What you've been trying to free yourself from is like, I feel like you've been held back from taking chances. There may have been a fear of failure. There may have been, I want to know what this is actually. What is this fear centered around for many of you? The Hierophant reversed, okay. And the Ten of Pentacles, okay. So, the Six of Swords at the bottom, that's the inner child healing card to me. So a lot of this does stem from childhood, and what I feel like you've been healing for some of you, you've been healing fear of commitment, and I don't just mean that in relationships. I mean that in general. choosing a path that you feel drawn to spiritually and intuitively and just going for it, right? Committing to it. Some of you, especially if you are at the height of your manifestation power, or if you're just a naturally gifted manifester, you might wobble back and forth. And this is what has been blocking your manifestations from fully grounding, is because you struggle to commit. And I feel like in the past, there may have been this fear of not having enough, right? There may have been issues with feeling a lack mentality. So it's like, oh, I need to make sure I make the right choice, because if I make the wrong choice and if I choose wrong, I might be screwed here. I might be out of luck. Especially when it comes to connections, because he's holding on to the 3 Pentacles. So this is the 3 of Pentacles is like a spiritual connection. So for some of you, this may have made you a little commitment shy. For some of you, this is like, again, with the Hierophant, this is about choosing a spiritual path, like choosing what you feel spiritually called to, or you're intuitively drawn to, and committing to that, particularly if it's off the beaten path, if it's a non-traditional thing to do, right? Because whatever this is, I feel like this is a big journey that's beginning. And with the 10 of Pentacles, this has the potential to be very long lasting in your life, or to lead to new beginnings that are very long lasting. And I feel like this is what's kept you like kind of hesitating, holding back, is like, oh, I don't know, I want to make sure I'm making the right choice. But I feel like for you guys, what this retrograde is going to bring is this new sense of like, again, like that push, that bravery. It's kind of this energy of like, you know what, I don't give a shit. I'm doing this. Like, I'm tired of sitting on the sidelines. I'm tired of letting life pass me by. I'm just doing it, right? Like, the only difference between, like, I'm going to get old someday anyway. The only difference is, do I want to start what I want now and get to where I want to be by the end of my life? Or do I want to sit on the fence and never take a chance and be farther behind, right? And never fully accomplish what I want. That's kind of the energy, is like, you know, I feel like a lot of you are making peace with the fact that life is quite an uncertain business, right? And that there are really no guarantees. There's just the opportunities that the universe presents us with and what we choose to do with them. Nobody is, nobody is precluded from change. Nobody is precluding from things, the ground shifting beneath your feet. But if you trust in yourself and you trust in spiritual timing and cycles, you trust in the divine, you can weather life's ups and downs. And I feel like you've been in this process of repairing the relationship with your confidence to your confidence in yourself and your confidence in spirit. And this is what's allowing you to say, I'm going for it. I'm not like sitting here on the sidelines anymore. And with the world, this could involve significant travel. You could be relocating, again, with physical activity. But this is where you're leveling up. You are going to be calling in different experiences because you're ready to weather the storms, and thus you're ready for the journey. You're actually like ready now, and this is why I feel like things are going to move fast for you. I just want to get more information because I'm spiritually nosy and regular nosy. Yeah, the 7 of Swords, you've been holding back. The King of Wands, there he is. The High Priestess, there she is. Hell yeah, dog. The Wheel of Fortune, I'm done. Okay, so I have to say, for some of you, I was almost getting, with the King of Wands, first of all, masculine fire energy, Aries, Leo, Sag. We have Pisces here. We have this Jupiter energy, so Pisces or Sagittarius here. So, synchronistic as hell. For some of you, this involves another person. This King of Wands, this could be a potential business partner. This could be somebody that you are looking for a commitment with. This could be somebody who's giving you an offer. But with the 7 of Swords, they've been planning something. They've been holding back important information. And it's like once you get this information that comes in during retrograde, it changes your perspective, right? These are things that have been hidden from you with the High Priestess. And this is like your opportunity, right? The wheel's turning and you're going to go for it. You're going to jump on it. I feel many of you are going to do it. So they're bringing this opportunity. And your guides don't want to give you a ton of information about this yet because it's kind of a surprise, which I know I get really frustrated when I see and hear that. So I'm sorry if I'm the bearer of annoying news right now. I feel you. Your tarot readers are just regular people, I promise. So that's really, really exciting. For others of you with this combination, again, there's divine timing and cycles here, right? We have 2 tens and the world. Cycles are closing out. But what's happening now is you are fully spiritually mature and evolved. You are at the height of your spiritual game here. Your intuition is on point and you are confident with that. You are learning to trust that. And because it's the masculine energy for the wand suit here, you're learning to take action on that, to just go for it, right? You know, the Wheel of Fortune is a serendipitous kind of twist of fate in your favor. Things, you know, just like falling into your lap when it's upright, you know, it's a very lucky turn of events. But the thing with the Wheel of Fortune and with Jupiter energy in general is that it's kind of like this strike while the iron is hot energy. And I feel like you guys are going for it. You're doing it. This is something you've been waiting for as well. The wheel is finally turning for you. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I get for you. I just feel like, especially too with this imagery, you're just going to be like, you're just going for it. You're like, you know what? Screw it. Let's do this. What's the worst that can happen? Like, you guys are not afraid anymore. Yeah, the Tower, when I cut the deck, this is going to be quite a big surprise. But the 3 of Cups was under that. I feel like this will make you really happy. This might come from a friend. This could come from a member of your soul tribe. Some of you, I will say, because we had the Empress, we have, you know, he's holding on to the 3 of Pentacles here. And we had the 3 of Cups. Some of you might be conceiving and this is a surprise, or somebody might ask you if you want it, like your partner especially might ask you if you want to have a child, or if you want to, like, you might start talking about like commitment, like marriage, or, you know, committed relationship, moving in together, starting a family. And it's like, once you guys talk about this, I feel like you might be thinking similar things, you might be feeling similar things, and you've kind of just been keeping it to yourself. But one of you will broach the subject and the other one will be like, oh my God, yes, me too. And things will move quickly. You might conceive very fast. So be careful, that physical activity. So I do see that as a possibility here for some of you. But whatever this is that you've been working through, you're just gonna go for it. You're just gonna do it. I'm loving this energy. I'm just like, I'm hyped up just looking at it, just thinking about it. So I think this is just about everything that I have for group 3. I hope this has been helpful. If you need help with your specific situation, please don't hesitate to reach out. My shop link is in the description box below. And I think I mentioned this before, but I do custom readings. So if you're looking for like this reading for yourself, please DM me, or really any other reading. I love you guys to pieces. I'm wishing you a safe, happy, healthy Mars retrograde, and I will see you guys soon. Take care, love bugs. Bye.